Hi, and welcome to yet another episode of Pet Pals here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm the humane educator here, Bethany Davidson, and animal wrangling for us, as always, is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And our first guest is one of our kittens. For whatever reason, little Maybelline here has not been snatched up. I don't know why. She's super cute. But she is one of the few kittens we still have on the adoption floor that doesn't have any applications. But you know, just because there are only a few on the floor right now doesn't mean that there aren't many more in foster care or out in the world that just haven't made their way to us during this kitten season. So kittens are still coming in. But she is, first off, she's super cute. She is a little bit on the shyer side. She's not begging for attention like some of the other kittens, but she does like affection, and it's stressful here. So her overall personality in a home might change a little bit because it's going to be less noisy. There's going to be less smells. There's going to be less strangers walking by all the time. So just because she's a little bit nervous here, don't take that as that's how any animal is going to be in a home, because it is kind of hard for a lot of them to live in this environment. But she loves cat beds. She loves just hanging out. And as you can see, you know, aside from a little bit of uneasiness when she first got here, she's pretty comfortable on Sean's lap. She's perfectly happy to hang out there. Even as I'm just watching her in the last couple of seconds, I've noticed, you know, last 30 seconds, she seems more comfortable than when she first got out here. So she is very quickly making those transitions. And she's going to be a great pet for anyone, regardless of your family situation.
So how did she get her name, Maybelline?
So when we're picking animal names, you know, there's a lot of different things that go into it. Sometimes they come in with a name, sometimes it's just a random theme that we have, and other times it's based on their physical attributes or personality traits that we've noticed in them. And with Maybelline, it was her eyeliner, 100%. She's got perfect eyeliner. You know, if only I was as good at doing those types of things. So that's kind of how she acquired her name. And she's just a beautiful girl too. So, you know, she could be, you know, a Maybelline model. You don't know. She, you know, that could be her dreams and aspirations. But she is, again, one of many kittens that are available for adoption here. There's always more kittens that are going to be making their way here. And sometimes the singletons, for whatever reason, get left out. People always look at the litters first, and I think maybe because there's so many of them in the cage, they're drawn to them, and then when there's only one, they assume that it must be a bigger cat, or you know, why is this cat not with other cats? It's not because they don't like other cats, just because they came in without litter mates. So, you know, not saying that she won't do well with other cats or things like that, but I have definitely noticed that a lot of the cats that are still lingering are not part of other litters. So definitely check her out. You can see Maybelline or any of those adoptable animals on our website, which is just frederickcountymd.gov. And then you just want to hit that animal control tab under the departments. And if you want to make an appointment to visit with Maybelline or any of our adoptable pets, you can go to visitfcac.as.me. Our next guest is one of our residents that lives at the other end of the spectrum, one of our senior pets. This is Marco, and Marco is, in all of our estimations, a really nice, friendly cat. Yes, he's a little curious, a little independent, doesn't necessarily want to be, you know, stuck in one place when there's lots to explore. But he's been a fairly nice cat, and you know, it's interesting because he came to us as a stray, which a lot of animals do. He was microchipped. We traced it back like we do with all of our animals that come in, and his owner chose to surrender him because she said that he was aggressive with her. And she adopted him from Baltimore County, their shelter there. So, you know, 2 shelters now have assessed Marco and been like, he's a nice cat. So we don't know exactly what was going on in that home. There were at least 2 other cats that were living in the home, and he was only there for a short period of time, about 3 months. So it could be possible that he just needed longer to acclimate. We don't know exactly what was going on, but nobody here has seen any of those aggressive tendencies. All I've seen from Marco is that he doesn't always want to be forced to be held on your lap. He wants to go out and explore, which is, you know, in my, you know, vast cat experience, pretty normal, right? Not every cat wants to hang out on your lap every day. But if you want some of those, we have some of those as well. So Marco is a little bit older. So, definitely more set in his ways, not going to be as rambunctious as maybe Maybelline and her kitten counterparts, but definitely a cat that will sit on your lap for a period of time. But just once he's done, he's done.
So some of the animals we have at the shelter do have medical conditions, and Marco is one of those. What's his issue?
So you might be able to tell he has an issue with one of his eyes. So there's medical notes from our staff veterinarian as well as the staff and veterinarian at Baltimore County Animal Services. There's been some different opinions on what exactly is wrong with his eye. I believe our vet, Dr. Thomas, wrote that she saw some entropion, which could be causing an issue in addition to some other things that were going on with that eye. And entropion is actually something that we see pretty often. It's more frequently we see it in the dogs, and that's when your eyelashes, instead of pointing out, point in. So because they're pointing in, they rub your eye and can scratch your cornea and things like that, and it can be painful. So we've been doing some treatments for that, and we have not yet fully decided whether or not he needs to have a surgical repair for that. So that's just something that anybody who is taking on Marco might want to be aware of, that there might be some medical expenses having to deal with his eye, whether he needs that surgery or just, ointments, medications. His vision is impaired in that eye. So just also be mindful of that. He's not going to see you as well coming from that side. So when you're petting him and interacting with him, it's better to approach him from the side where his good eye is. So he knows you're coming, or, approach him from the front so that you're not startling animals when they have, their hearing or their vision isn't 100%, sometimes they can startle more easily, and as a result of that react out of fear, which could have been something that happened in his former home. So all of those things are things just to take into consideration. But otherwise, Marco is, a pretty sweet cat that we're enjoying having here and getting to know. If you want to get to know him a little bit more in your home, the first step is going to be making sure you book that appointment to visit by going to visit fcac.as.me. Keeping with our senior theme, the next dog that we have is one of a handful of our dogs that qualify as seniors. This is Mr. Wiggles, and he's about 10 years old, and he is just a super sweet dog. He's kind of the dog that people are looking for. He's, the nice, friendly lab with the infectious smile and super friendly and loves to be petted and all of those things. But he's a little bit older, so he's not necessarily chasing after the tennis balls in the same way. And he's really well-mannered. So, if you are somebody who's just looking to maybe get a first dog, that's not going to be a lot of, training and, worrying about, how much exercise are they going to get and things like that. Mr. Wiggles is a good option. He's a little bit older, so he does have some arthritis and things like that. So he's not going on super long hikes. You don't have to worry about, is he getting miles and miles of walks? Is he out in the backyard all the time? You don't have to worry about the exercise as much, but do want to make sure he's still getting a little bit of exercise, because he is about 15 to 20 pounds overweight. He should be closer to 100 pounds. I think he's about 100, 1,417 right now. And that's going to help a lot with his arthritis. Less weight on his joints is going to make him feel more comfortable. Supplements like glucosamine and things like that can also help with the arthritis. But he is one of the dogs that pretty much every volunteer will walk because he's so easy to walk. He just goes on a nice little stroll. He doesn't typically jump up on people. He's very well-mannered. We were just talking before we started recording that he doesn't always sit, because that can be hard for some dogs if they have arthritis and things like that. I've noticed that when I ask him to sit, oftentimes he won't, or he'll go straight into a down, which is easier on his joints. But loves attention. Sean found that right spot there. Just looking for that nice retirement home to end up in.
So he did arrive as a stray, but we do know his name was Mr. Wiggles. How did we know that?
So sometimes it's because people call and give us information, but more often than not, it's because they are microchipped. And we did, as we do with all of the animals, reach out to the owner, like we did with Marco. And nobody came to claim this dog, even though we had, reached out, called, left voicemails, things like that. So he became ours, but his age and his name were on his microchip. So microchips are really important. Not only can they give us information about the animal, even if someone doesn't choose to claim them, but it does give them the opportunity to know that their animal is safe and they can come here and get it. We microchip all of our cats and dogs before they go to their forever homes here in this facility, but we also offer regular microchipping clinics. So every Wednesday, we do have a no appointment necessary microchip clinic from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You just can come in. Typically, it's $20, but thanks to our collaboration with Subaru and the ASPCA in October, all of those microchip clinics are going to be free. So in October, you're going to be able to get your existing non-microchip pets microchipped here at Animal Control for free. If Wednesdays don't work for you, we also have a microchip clinic that's going to be at the Subaru dealership on October 12th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So those are great opportunities to get your pet microchipped so that if they end up here at Animal Control or any other rescue facility, vet's office, things like that, they can get them safely back to you. That didn't work out as well for Mr. Wiggles here, but we do know, information about him thanks to those chips. And if you want to make him your new pet and ensure that his chip is up to date and he's going to make his way back to your home, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start the process of making him part of your family. We get animals in a lot of different ways, and one of the saddest ways I think that we get the animals is when their owner passes away. And Baby and our next guest, Diva, that's how they came to us. Unfortunately, their owner passed away, and there was no next of kin, no family, no friends that wanted to take Baby and Diva on, so they ended up here at our facility where we're hoping to find them, their retirement homes as well, because these guys are also classified as seniors. Baby here is about 10 years old, and we have her down as a lab mix, and she is super sweet. I actually really like her. She's my favorite of the pair, although I don't really love the smaller dogs, so this one's a little bit bigger. She's a little bit shy at first, but then she's just super sweet and affectionate, leans in for pets, things once she gets to know you. She's definitely a dog where if you're standing up, she finds that really intimidating, but if you get lower and sit down and become more submissive and less threatening, then she warms right up and becomes outwardly friendly. She does no sit. She takes treats pretty nicely. And she's just a super sweet older lady who's looking for a chance at a forever home. Now, these guys have been living together at least since 2018, because that's when we adopted, I believe, that's fairly accurate. That's when we adopted Diva out to this gentleman. So they have been living together for a while. But we don't have them listed as a bonded pair. We have them listed as better together. They do occasionally spend time apart, like when they're in the outdoor kennels and things like that, but they are housed together inside. They can go on walks together. They can play in our play areas together. They don't have any issues being together, but they also aren't super upset when they're separated either. So they are a good pair if you're looking for two dogs, because they already know each other, they get along. But they could be separated if we were unable to find them homes together.
So as you mentioned, Baby is listed as better together with Diva. She'll be our next guest. But Baby does have some feelings about other dogs. What are they?
Yeah, so Baby likes Diva. But according to the person who surrendered the animals to us, Baby only likes Diva. Our behavior assessment shows her showing no reaction to other dogs, but the person who brought the dogs to us, who was living with them in a roommate tenant situation, said that Baby did not do well with other dogs. But again, we haven't seen any aggressive behavior with other dogs. We've only seen no reaction at all. But that's kind of where we're at, where she really just prefers that Baby's her only, or Diva is her only dog friend. But if you want to take on Diva and Baby, or one or the other individually, the best way to start that process is just to make an appointment to meet them. You might say, oh, I only really want one, but then you meet both of them and you figure out that they both are cuddly little lap dogs, and you're like, well, why not get two? But you won't know unless you meet them. So you need to go to visit fcac.as.me to do that. As we mentioned with our previous guest, Baby, this is Diva, and she is the dog that's better together with Baby. A little bit smaller, another odd couple, similar to our last odd couple of seniors, Nellie and Zeus, who have been adopted in the last couple of weeks. But now we've got another one, except they're a little bit different in size, just because Baby is a little bit bigger. And then Diva here is just our terrier mix. She has kind of like a wire hair thing. I think some people on our Facebook page were thinking she's a Karen Terrier. They were, Karen Rescue people were looking at her. When we don't have their exact breed, we just say that they're a mix. And I think a lot of people are confused when we say terrier because they assume that we always mean a pit bull terrier. Pit bulls are terriers, but there are a variety of different kinds of terriers, just like there are a variety of different kinds of hounds. So always, check out their picture and their size, because just, a terrier, like 12 pounds. So definitely a little bit different there. She is 11 years old. So she is also a senior. And she is a little bit more spunky than her friend Baby. She's definitely all up in your business. She's nosy. She's a little bit more confident, outwardly assertive, loves treats, does not always take them nicely. So she does need to work on that. But total lap dog, like a lot of people are looking for. And she is one of two smaller dogs that we have right now. We have a Chihuahua mix named Marquis, who was recently made available for adoption. He's a little bit younger than she is, but also a total lap dog. So we do have a couple of small dog options right now, if that's something that you're looking for. But very friendly, very confident. But again, did come in with Baby, and as a result of their owner passing away. So we are housing them together so that they can keep each other company and be there for each other in terms of like comfort, and are looking to kind of find them a home together.
So Diva and Baby are listed as better together, as you discussed. How do we determine if pets are better together or bonded? So
we do this a lot with the cats more frequently than with the dogs, because more often cats come in together. But we look at a couple of different things. Are these animals relying on each other for comfort? Are they cuddling? Are they grooming each other? If we have to separate them, are they more withdrawn? Are they tense, nervous? Do they seem depressed? Are they whining, whimpering, things like that? And with these guys, they are perfectly happy together. They interact well together. I've seen them sharing and cuddling in the bed together, but they also don't seem overly distraught when they're separated. So because of their length of time that they've lived together, that's why we've placed them as better together. But we've recognized that it can be a challenge to find animals that are disparity in size and breed homes together. So we are willing to separate them if we can't find them homes together. We have cats that we do that with a lot. In the kitty cabana, we have Jack and George Washington right now, who lived in a home together. We placed them back in there because we knew that they could get along, but they are not bonded or even listed as better together. So there's a lot of different things that go into those decisions, including, what's going to be best for them in the long term. Is it better for them to stay here in the shelter for longer and be adopted together, or is it better to maybe separate them? With Nellie and Zeus, they got really upset and depressed when they were separated, so it wasn't going to be a good decision to separate them, whereas these guys seem a little bit more comfortable with being independent on their own. So that's kind of how we make those decisions, but sometimes those things can also change over time as well. But if you're interested in either of these dogs, together or individually, in order to, start that process of making them part of your family, you're going to need to go to visit fcac.as.me. Our next guest is unfortunately becoming one of our longest residents. We have 5 long-term residents, and Violet here is the 5th of those in terms of her number of days here with us. And she is quickly becoming a lot of people's favorite dogs. There are some people who are like, oh, Violet still makes me a little bit nervous. And then there are other people who are like, I love Violet. can I have Violet? Can she be mine? When you look at Violet, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's a husky. Not a husky. Cousin to a husky, but not a husky. When she first came in, we were like, oh, is that like a hybrid dog? Is that a coyote dog, a wolf dog, which happened to be illegal in this state? So we had to DNA test Violet. And what we found was that she is 100% a West Siberian Laika, or Laika, however you happen to say that. It is a Russian hunting dog, and a very fun, affectionate dog, but a very high energy dog. So Violet is not just for everybody. Just because you think she's pretty, because she's a very pretty dog, doesn't mean she's going to be great for your family. She has a lot of exercise requirements. She's not going to be happy if she's not getting out and getting exercised. She needs a lot of mental stimulation. So for Violet, we are looking for people who have experience with sporting or hunting dogs. Don't necessarily have to have experience with her particular breed, because they're not super popular here in the United States yet. Although with the people who do have them, they're very, very into these type of dogs. But definitely somebody who's going to be able to get her an agility or some sort of nose work, or any of those other types of things to keep her occupied. She does definitely follow her nose. So either making sure that your fence is super secure and very tall, or making sure that she's always on a leash. We use a martingale on a long line here for her because she loves to run and sniff. But she's been very affectionate. When she likes you, she really wants to sit next to you and be close to you and get pets and cuddle, which a lot of people are really enjoying being able to do those things with her. But sometimes she can take a little bit of time to warm up. So she might require a couple of dates before she can go to a forever home.
So there's no doubt that she's an interesting dog, and she's friendly, but she may not slide right into any home. So her ideal home would look like...
So for example, I already mentioned like somebody who's going to be able to have experience with either working dogs, sporting dogs, to understand the exercise requirements that she's going to have and the mental stimulation needs. But because of how she behaved when she first got here, it took her several weeks, probably almost 8 weeks really, to settle in. We are not looking to send her to a home with small children. So we are looking for someone who has teens or adults only in their home, not necessarily going to have tons of small kids around. That might be something she could work up to, but right now we don't want to start her off on to set her up for failure. And minimally, if definitely some sort of dog experience. And one dog does not necessarily make dog experience for Violet. We want somebody who's had, quite a few dogs, understands training and things like that. And again, is patient. She's been doing exceptionally well lately, but in a home, she might revert a little bit and be a little bit more fearful. So somebody who is going to be patient and understand that she might not want to meet all of your friends and stuff right away. So kind of giving her that time to settle in. Also, she's a treat snob, so be prepared to purchase those high-value dog treats. I think her favorites right now are cheese, and she was recently introduced to steak. So steak is the high mark on her totem pole right now. But if you're interested in making Violet part of your home and you think that she's going to be a good fit, the first step, as always, is going to be going to make that appointment. You can do that at visitfcac.as.me. We hope that you enjoyed meeting these animals today, but as is always the case, we have plenty more. We frequently have small animals available for adoption that don't always get showcased. So definitely take a look at our website, see what we have available, and what's going to be a great addition to your family.